Halfway through the banquet, the clasp on Carrie Ellison's bra popped open. I was about to walk her to the dressing room when she turned around and let her childhood best friend, Gabe Allen, slide his hand inside her dress and hook it back together. I frowned. Carrie rolled her eyes. Why are you jealous over nothing? Gabe used to get my bra open with his teeth. Hooks it once and you lose it. That same day, the perfect childhood sweethearts hit no. One trending. After the banquet, Carrie didn't get an apology from me. She got my resignation letter in front of everybody. She threw champagne in my face. It's a clasp. You have to pick at it and make me look bad. I didn't say anything. I just set the divorce agreement in front of her. Carrie stared at me like I'd started speaking another language. Cool. There were people everywhere. Gabe was helping me. You won't even try to see it my way. And now you want a divorce over this? He kneaded his hand inside your dress to do a clasp?
You left her here.
I'm your husband. I was standing right there, and you walked past me into his arms. She clicked her tongue. So you're jealous? How many times do I have to say it? If there was anything between me and Gabe, never have been my husband. I looked right at her. Maybe what you two crossed is up for debate. What you've put me through isn't. Carrie went. Still. When you made your childhood friend vice president, a guy who can't build a decent slide deck, and handed him every client I fought for when my mother was in surgery, and you ignored me so you could take him overseas. You know what the whole company was saying? You know who everybody thought your husband was? I loosened my tie. I took all of it because I loved you. I'm done taking it. Let's get divorced. She bit her lip and turned to Gabe. Gabe, step outside. Carrie, out. Once he was gone, she leaned into me soft again. Honey, if you can't stand him, I'll move him to a branch office tomorrow. He'll never walk into headquarters again. And that Porsche you liked? I'll order it tomorrow. Next month at the board meeting, I'll make you vice president. Don't be mad, okay? I stepped back from her hand. Carrie, I mean it. I want a divorce. Honey, I want a divorce. I laughed. 5 years of marriage. How many times have I brought this up? Have you ever, once actually fixed anything? There's nothing between me and Gabe. You're making a whole thing out of nothing. Standing there listening to her, she felt like a stranger. I threw the papers at her face. Sign it. From now on, you two can sleep together in front of me. And I won't say a word. Carrie grabbed her cheek. Eyes huge. Like she couldn't believe I touched her. She ripped the papers apart, dragged Gabe in from the doorway, and pressed a lipstick print onto his collar right in front of me. Kiss me. He pulled her in, kissed her deep, and gave me a look over her shoulder. When I didn't move, her anger turned into humiliation. Fine. You want to blow this up over nothing? I'll give you exactly what you want. She walked out on his arm. I stood there with my nails in my palms. I used to think that, after everything Carrie and I got through together, we could survive anything. So I kept giving her chances, waiting for things to go back. Not this time. I don't want this marriage. I went back to the office for some documents, and a few co-workers were crowded around a phone whispering. It was Gabe's Instagram.
Tear back.
Captive. Fighting side by side with you is the greatest happiness. In the photo, Carrie was at the annual contribution awards, tucked into his arms. They looked like a couple. And the product Gabe won with was the drone program I built. She used a year of my team, sleepless nights, as a stepping stone for him. I got to her office door and heard laughing inside. Gabe, delete that post. If Cole sees it, he'll throw another fit. Gabe's jaw tightened, but he took out his phone and deleted it. Carrie looked up and saw me.
Hun. Carrie.
This project took me and the core tech team a year to crack. You handed the credit to Gabe like it was a party favor. She waved her hand.
Cole.
Fine. Giving him your project was wrong. I was angry. You keep threatening divorce to get a rise out of me, and I lost my head. But I swear there's nothing between us. Then what about the project? I pulled my hand out of hers. Honey, Gabe needs it. You can build another one if you lose this award. He can't wait that long. What does his situation have to do with me? Her face went stiff. Cole. He's my childhood friend. You should be better to him. It's one project. Can't you just do another one? Do you have to be this small about it? The core architecture, the concept, the hardest algorithms, every line of code. That was my team, and she gave it away. Carrie's face darkened. Gabe put on a guilty look. Sorry, Cole. I'll give the award back. No need. Carrie snorted. Am I the boss? Or is he? Who does he think he is? Throwing a tantrum in front of me? Gabe, what's yours is yours. Let's go. She grabbed his hand and slammed the door. Hard enough to shake the wall. I caught the look Gabe gave me on the way out. My phone buzzed. Carrie, honey, I was just angry. Don't take it to heart. Dinner tonight. I'll make it up to you. Don't say no. I just walked out of the building. That evening when Carrie's car pulled up, Gabe leaned out of the passenger seat and waved. Cole, sorry about this. I get car sick. You'll have to take the back.
Carrie said.
Gabe came to apologize. I nodded and got in the back. She ignored me the whole drive and talked to Gabe. Every time he said something funny, she laughed until her shoulders shook and smacked his thigh. It didn't look like conversation in the private room. She handed Gabe the menu. You're my childhood friend. You should know what I like without me saying it. He rested his chin on her neck. Of course I know how many moles you have. I sat off to the side. Not one dish on that table was something I could eat. Gabe filled my glass with wine and picked up his own. Cole, let me toast you an apology.
Wait.
Carrie stopped him. Drinking's bad for you. Have juice instead. Gabe carried a glass of juice over to me. Cole taking the project was my fault.
Don't hold it against me.
Carrie wiped the juice off the corner of his mouth. Don't worry. Cole's always been generous. I looked at her.
My voice came out rough.
This is what you call an apology? The room went cold. Gabe stood up, eyes wounded. It's my fault Cole's upset. I'll go write my resignation right now.
Sit down.
Like to see who makes you leave. Carrie grabbed his hand and turned to me. Done pretending. He apologized. What else do you want? Drink the wine he poured you. Don't push your luck. I looked at their hands. He'd forgotten that when she was starting out. I drank through banquet after banquet to land her the deals. I ended up in a hospital bed with my stomach bleeding out. I haven't touched alcohol since. I picked up the glass and poured the wine on the floor. I'm not lucky enough to accept his apology. I turned and walked out on her, shouting. That night, she posted a photo. Her on his lap, the two of them kissing. I liked it. My friend saw it and was shaking. What is wrong with her? I just smiled. Disappoint someone long enough, and they stopped feeling it. Cole, I can't watch this. Are you doing something or not? Because I'll go handle those two myself.
No rules.
I'm making my move. He looked confused. I handed him my phone. He saw the group chat and lit up. The entire core team is walking out with you. He scrolled up. Every one of them had filed resignation with HR that day. He hit my shoulder.
You built that team.
Working nights, drinking yourself through deals to bring in investors.
Carrie's whole company is you.
Let those two go. Be shameless together. With the core technical staff gone in one day, Carrie had to rush back and call a meeting. This company treats you well. Why are you leaving? A dozen senior engineers looked at each other. The oldest one spoke. Miss Ellison, it's not the pay. It's Cole leaving. Wherever he goes, we go. Carrie's brows pulled together. What did he offer you? I'll triple it. It's not money. When we were at the bottom,
Cole gave us a reason to keep going.
Without him, none of us are here. Then it came back to her. 7 years ago, when the company was 2 weeks from folding, who held it together? She came to find me. Softer now.
Cole.
Don't resign. Let's just live our lives, okay? Not happening. Don't forget to sign the agreement. Her voice went sharp.
Cole.
What's it going to take? Do I have to die before you drop this? I laughed. All I know is you two keep doing this in front of everyone. Until the whole building thinks I'm the other man. You let it spread.
You made me a joke, Carrie.
This didn't come out of nowhere. You picked him every time. Her voice shook. That's only because you've been unreasonable from the start. I met her eyes.
So?
It's only cheating if you end up in bed. She swallowed. Honey, Gabe and I grew up together. This is just how we are. I handed her the papers. Sign it. She stared at me a long time, threw the agreement down, and left. The next day, I went in to find her, and every record mine. My whole team's had been wiped. Gabe came strolling over in a tailored suit and dropped our files on the floor. Miss Allison says the company has no room for ungrateful ingrates. If you have any dignity, you'll get out now. Hard to believe that didn't come straight from her mouth. I took out my phone and called her biggest competitor. I accept your offer. Tomorrow I'm joining you, and I'm bringing a $1 billion project with me. She wanted it this way, so there's no road back for her. The rain hit the glass windows of Apex Dynamics' 34th floor conference room in a steady, heavy rhythm. Across the glass table sat Victoria Vance, the CEO whose market share Carrie Ellison had been trying to chip away at for 3
years.
Victoria didn't look like Carrie. She didn't wear designer gowns to work, meetings, or surround herself with sycophants. She wore a sharp, unpretentious charcoal suit, her eyes bright and analytical as she flipped through the tablet I had handed her. Beside me, my core team, 12 engineers, developers, and systems architects who had walked out of Ellison Tech behind me without a second thought, sat silently. Victoria set the tablet down and looked across at me.
Cole.
The industry knows. You built Ellison's tech stack from the ground up.
But what you're showing me.
Here, this isn't just an upgrade to their drone navigation software. It's not, I said calmly, leaning forward. What Gabe Allen stole, and what Carrie handed him on a silver platter, is Phase 1. It's an early build.
It's
Flash over substance, full of unoptimized legacy code and hard-coded logic. Boundaries I left in place during initial testing. It looks impressive on a pitch deck, but under real-world multi-node load, it will bottleneck and fail. I motioned to the tablet. This is Phase 2. Autonomous swarm coordination, dynamic frequency hopping, and an integrated real-time spatial mapping engine.
I
Registered the foundational patents under my personal name 3 years ago, before I ever signed the employee IP assignment agreement with Ellison Tech. An agreement, I should add, that Carrie forgot to renew during last quarter's restructuring. Victoria's lips curved into a slow, razor-sharp smile. You kept the core foundation locked. I built this company with my health and my youth, I said softly. I poured blood into Carrie's balance sheets while she was busy building a career for her childhood best friend. I was willing to give her everything when she was my
wife.
but she decided to turn my life's work into a vanity prize for Gabe.
So,
Victoria, do we have a deal? Victoria extended her hand across the table. Welcome to Apex Dynamics, Chief Technology Officer. Name your terms for the team. Equal stock grants, full creative control, and immediate filing of our independent launch patents, I replied, shaking her hand. We launch in 6 weeks at the International Defense and Enterprise Tech Summit. That's the same summit where Ellison Tech is scheduled to keynote, Victoria noted, her eyes glinting. I know, I said. That's the point. For the next 3 weeks, the world outside Apex Dynamics ceased to exist for me and my team. We moved into a state-of-the-art lab on the top floor. There were no petty workplace politics, no dramatic outbursts, and no golden boy vice presidents strolling in at noon to reassign engineers to print out their personal travel itineraries. My team worked with a fierce, unified precision. We rewrote the primary telemetry engine, sealed the architecture, and prepped the field units for mass production. Meanwhile, Gabe Allen was living his best life on social media. My former colleagues forwarded me snippets. Gabe had posted photos from the executive suite at Ellison Tech, sitting behind my former desk, wearing a tailor-made suit bought on the company dime. Stepping into leadership. Innovation isn't about sitting behind a screen typing code. It's about vision. One of his captions read. Carrie had commented under it. So proud of you. The sky is the limit. She hadn't signed the divorce papers yet. Her lawyer had sent a single formal letter claiming the papers were invalid due to emotional distress during delivery, demanding an out-of-court mediation to discuss reconciliation and IP distribution. I didn't even reply. My lawyer sent back a brief notice. Full litigation pending. See you in court. By week 4, however, the cracks in Gabe's vision began to show. Ellison Tech was preparing the live demonstration for the upcoming summit. They had pre-sold millions in enterprise contracts based on the drone prototype I had left behind. But without my core team to maintain the backend, the system started showing fatal stability errors during stress tests. I learned this from Leo, my lead software architect who still had friends lingering in Ellison's junior QA department. Gabe's losing his mind. Leo chuckled over coffee in the Apex lounge. He tried to run a 50-drone simultaneous flight test yesterday in front of their board members. Halfway through, 30 of the units lost packet synchronization and drifted off course. One of them crashed right into the executive parking lot, missed Carrie's sports car by 2 feet. What did Gabe do? I asked, taking a sip of black coffee. Blamed the QA interns, Leo said, shaking his head. Fired 2 junior devs on the spot. Said they were sabotaging him out of loyalty to you. Carrie bought it hook, line, and sinker. She brought in an outside software firm, paying them triple rates to fix the bugs. I smiled faintly. They won't be able to fix it. The codebase relies on a custom mathematical transform I wrote by hand in C++. Unless you understand the underlying geometric logic, changing one line of code causes a cascade failure in the flight controller. They're walking into a minefield, Leo said. And the summit is in 10 days. 5 days before the summit, I was leaving the Apex building late at night when a sleek white Bentley pulled up to the curb, blocking the pedestrian exit. The driver's side window rolled down. Carrie sat in the driver's seat. She looked exhausted. Her signature pristine makeup was slightly faded, dark. Circles visible under her eyes despite the expensive lighting of the street lamps. The arrogant composure she had displayed at the banquet weeks ago was frayed at the edges. "Cole," she called out, stepping out of the car. She was wearing a simple coat, her hair tied back hastily. "Stop ignoring my calls." I kept walking toward my car. "We have nothing to talk about, Carrie."
Talk to my
"Lawyer." She rushed forward, grabbing my arm.
Cole.
"Please. Stop acting like a child." I stopped, turning my head to look down at her hand on my sleeve until she
Slowly let go.
"I'm acting like a child?" I asked quietly. "You brought your whole team to Apex," she said, her voice rising with a mixture of frustration and panic. "You signed with our biggest rival. Do you have any idea what people are saying about me? They're saying my husband betrayed me and ran to the competition." "Ex-husband," I corrected. "And you didn't care what people were saying when Gabe was hooking your bra in front of a ballroom full of investors. You didn't care when he posted photos of you kissing him on his lap. You didn't care when you handed him my year-long project as a vanity trophy." Carrie bit her lip, taking a step closer, softening her tone into the coaxing voice she used to use whenever she needed me to work an 80-hour week to save her company. "Cole, Gabe made a mistake with that post. He was drunk. I yelled at him for it, okay? He deleted it." She reached out, trying to touch my neck.
And the
"Project. I only gave him the lead credit because his family was putting pressure on him. He needed a win." "You're brilliant, Cole. You can build 10 more projects. Why couldn't you just let him have this one? Why do you have to destroy everything we built over one stupid mistake?" I stared at her, genuinely astounded by the depths of her delusion. "It wasn't one mistake, Carrie," I said, my voice dead calm. "It was 5 years of you treating my devotion as a convenience. It was you treating my talent as Gabe's safety net. You thought I would stay forever, swallowing my dignity, while you played house with your childhood friend." "I don't love Gabe," she yelled, tears finally welling in her eyes. "I love you. He's my past. He's family." "Then go live with your family," I said, "because I am done being your sacrifice." She grabbed my hand again, her voice breaking into a desperate plea.
Cole, listen to me.
"The system, the drone project. It's glitching. The summit is in 5 days. If the demo fails, Ellison tech stock is going to plunge. We could lose 50 million in enterprise valuation overnight. Just come back for 1
week.
Fix the code. Clean up the system for the demo. After the summit, I'll demote Gabe. I'll send him away to an overseas branch. I'll sign whatever marriage agreement you want. Please don't do this to me." I looked at her tear-stained face and felt nothing. No anger, no longing, no heartbreak. Just a cold, crystalline emptiness. "You gave my work to Gabe because you thought he was capable," I said softly. "Let your vice president fix it." I turned, unlocked my car, got in, and drove away. In my rearview mirror, I saw Carrie standing under the street lamp, her face pale, staring after my taillights. As the rain began to fall again, the day of the International Defense and Enterprise Tech Summit arrived. The Grand Convention Center was packed with thousands of industry leaders, venture capitalists, defense contractors, and media outlets. Huge digital banners hung from the rafters, showcasing the top innovators of the year. Ellison Tech had secured the prime keynote slot at 2 p.m. Apex Dynamics was scheduled right after them at 2:45 p.m. I sat in the green room backstage with my team, dressed in a sharp black suit, watching the broadcast monitors. On screen, Carrie and Gabe were being interviewed by a tech news anchor on the red carpet. Gabe was grinning widely, wearing a gold watch, his arm casually wrapped around Carrie's waist as they posed for photos. Carrie was smiling for the cameras, but her eyes were darting nervously around the room, searching the
crowd.
"Miss Ellison," the reporter said, holding up a microphone. "There have been rumors of massive engineering turnovers at Ellison Tech over the past month, including the departure of your legendary CTO, Cole Vance. How has that affected your launch today?" Gabe stepped up instantly, taking the microphone from Carrie before she could
answer.
"Let me address that," Gabe said arrogantly, tossing his hair back. "Cole was a good developer, but he was stuck in legacy thinking. He held our team back with overly complex code. Since I took over as head of R&D and vice president, we've streamlined the architecture. Today, Ellison Tech isn't just showing a product, we're showing the future. Innovation moves forward with visionaries, not pencil pushers. Beside him, Carrie looked visibly uncomfortable, but she didn't contradict him. She just offered a forced smile and nodded. In the green room, Leo spat his coffee into a cup. That arrogant little leech. I can't wait. Patience, I said quietly, checking my watch. Let him climb as high as he wants. The fall is sweeter that way. At 2 p.m., the main auditorium lights dimmed. Over 2,000 people took their seats. Carrie stepped onto the stage first, delivering an opening speech about Ellison, Tech's grand history and vision. She looked stunning in an emerald gown, her voice steady, but her hands trembled slightly as she held the clicker. And now, Carrie announced, raising her voice, I yield the stage to our Vice President of Research and Development, Gabe Allen, to demonstrate the Sky Sentinel autonomous swarm. The crowd applauded. Gabe walked onto the stage like a rock star, waving to the audience, taking the podium microphone with absolute confidence. Behind him, a massive high-definition screen lit up, showing a live video feed from the convention center's outdoor flight testing arena. 10 sleek white drones sat on launch pads. Ladies and gentlemen, Gabe declared loudly, what you are looking at is the world's first fully autonomous, zero-latency drone swarm, controlled entirely by our proprietary AI engine. These units will now execute a complex, three-dimensional tactical formation in real time. Gabe pressed a button on his tablet controller. On screen, the 10 drones spun up their rotors with a loud whirring sound. They lifted into the air smoothly, rising 50 feet above the pavement. The crowd murmured in approval. Gabe grinned, glancing down at the front row where major defense investors were
Sitting.
now, observing the dynamic formation shift, Gabe announced, swiping his finger across the screen to initiate the secondary flight loop. That was the exact line of code that required my custom mathematical transform. On the live screen, the drones suddenly jolted. Instead of spreading out into a neat geometric grid, 3 of the lead drones began to wobble violently. Their indicator lights flashed red. Gabe's face froze. He frantically tapped his tablet, initiating reroute protocol. The software, overwhelmed by unhandled packet errors, entered an infinite feedback loop. On screen, drone number 4 violently accelerated directly into drone number
5.
A sharp crunch echoed through the auditorium speakers as carbon fiber smashed into carbon fiber. Propellers exploded into fragments and both drones plummeted out of the sky, slamming into the concrete ground below in a cloud of smoke and sparks. The remaining 8 drones completely lost spatial orientation. 2 of them zoomed sideways, smashing into the protective perimeter netting, while the other 6 began spinning in chaotic, uncoordinated circles before crashing sequentially into the ground like falling bricks. Within 15 seconds, all 10 of Ellison Tech's multi-million-dollar demonstration drones were a pile of smoking wreckage on the pavement. Silence fell over the 2,000 audience members in the auditorium. Gabe stood on stage, his face dead white, sweating profusely. He tapped the tablet violently, his hands shaking. Ladies and gentlemen, we seem to be experiencing an unforeseen external radio interference, a signal disruption. In the front row, a major venture capital partner stood up, his face dark with disgust. Signal disruption? That was a logic collision error. Your flight engine collapsed under basic vector reassignment. Media cameras flashed rapidly, capturing Gabe's terror-stricken expression. Carrie rushed onto the stage, trying to salvage the situation.
She grabbed the
microphone from Gabe's trembling hands. Everyone, please excuse the technical anomaly. This is an early build. Our team will. Early build, the reporter from the Tech News Network shouted from the middle
row.
Miss Ellison, you claimed the system was fully market-ready and pre-sold. Over $30 million in government contracts. Is this what you're selling? The auditorium descended into chaos. Investors began whispering, shaking their heads, and making frantic phone calls to dump Ellison Tech stock. From the side stage, the stage manager signaled to the production crew.
The
lights dimmed on Carrie and Gabe as their presentation time expired. Gabe looked like he was about to faint. Carrie stood frozen, staring out at the hostile crowd, her hands trembling violently. And now, the announcer's voice boomed through the house speakers, crisp and commanding, please welcome the Chief Technology Officer of Apex Dynamics, Cole Vance. The spotlight shifted. I stepped out from behind the curtain, calm, sharp, and composed, wearing a tailored black suit. Behind me, The giant screen lit up with the glowing blue logo of Apex Dynamics and the title of our project, Aegis Core. Carrie's head snapped toward me. Her eyes met mine across the dark stage.
The
Panic, embarrassment, and realization in her eyes were absolute. I didn't give her a second glance. I walked straight to the center of the stage, tapping my earpiece microphone. "Good afternoon," I said, my voice echoing clearly throughout the vast hall. Unlike our competitors, Apex Dynamics doesn't believe in showing you half-finished prototypes stolen from old codebases. Today, we demonstrate true autonomy. I didn't use a handheld tablet. I held up a simple smartwatch on my wrist and pressed a single button. The screen behind me switched to a live satellite feed over Apex Dynamics. High-altitude proving grounds 20 miles away. 50 heavy-duty, high-speed tactical drones powered up simultaneously. Without a single stutter, they launched into the sky, weaving through a complex, tight obstacle course of industrial cranes and simulated urban structures at 60 miles per hour. They executed razor-sharp tactical maneuvers, dynamically adjusting to simulated physical collisions, signal jamming, and atmospheric turbulence in real time, forming flawless, shifting geometric formations across the sky. The audience gasped. The venture capitalists who had been walking out stopped in their tracks, turning back to stare at the screen in awe. Every line of the Aegis Core architecture, I continued smoothly stepping toward the edge of the stage, was built from scratch by my team over the past month. It features dynamic self-healing telemetry, zero-latency mesh communication, and absolute fault tolerance. I brought up the system's structural blueprint on the main screen. And to ensure total integrity, I added, looking directly into the primary media camera, Apex Dynamics holds 34 exclusive global patents on this dynamic coordinate engine, filed personally by myself prior to my departure from my previous employer. Any company attempting to market software derived from these foundational algorithms is operating in direct violation of international intellectual property law. The room erupted into wild applause and murmurs. In the wings of the stage, Carrie heard those words and turned deathly pale. She knew exactly what that meant. Ellison Tech hadn't just failed a demonstration. They were facing catastrophic patent infringement lawsuits from Apex Dynamics that would freeze all their remaining commercial operations. Gabe slumped back against a backstage curtain, clutching his stomach, looking like he was going to vomit. I stood at the center of the stage, bathed in the blinding white light of the applause, feeling the weight of 5 years of silent endurance slide off my shoulders forever. The aftermath was swift and devastating. By 5 p.m. that same day, Ellison Tech stock had plunged by 42%, the largest single-day loss in the company's history. Major enterprise clients who had signed conditional contracts began pulling out en masse, citing technical incompetence and pending legal liabilities. That evening, Apex Dynamics hosted a massive victory gala at the top floor ballroom of the Grand Hyatt. Investors, government representatives, and international journalists crowded around me and Victoria Vance, offering millions in funding and partnership deals. My team was celebrating, raising glasses of champagne, laughing, and relishing the recognition they had earned through relentless hard work. Around 10 p.m., I walked out to the quiet balcony overlooking the city skyline to catch some fresh air. The heavy glass door slid open behind me. I expected it to be Victoria or Leo. Instead, it was Carrie. She wasn't wearing her emerald gown anymore. She was wearing a simple coat over crumpled clothes. Her hair was messy, her eyes bloodshot from crying. She looked like a ghost haunting her own past. "Cole," she whispered, her voice hoarse and trembling. I didn't turn around. I kept staring at the city lights below. "How did you get up here, Carrie?" I begged the security guard. She sobbed, stepping closer, her hands shaking so badly she could barely hold her small handbag. "Cole, please. You have to save
me.
You're the only one who can save me." "Save you from what?" I asked calmly. "From the choices you made? The board. They're holding an emergency meeting tomorrow morning to remove me as CEO," she cried, sinking to her knees right there on the cold stone floor of the balcony, catching the hem of my trousers with her hands. "The investors are suing us for fraud because Gabe signed statements claiming the tech was fully operational. The legal fees, the stock crash. Ellison Tech is going to go bankrupt in less than a month." I pulled my trousers out of her grip and took 2 steps back, looking down at her weeping on the floor. "And where is Gabe?" I asked coldly. "Where is your vice president? Your childhood friend who could open your bra with his teeth?" Why isn't he fixing this for you? Carrie let out a bitter, choked laugh through her tears. Gabe ran away. As soon as the news hit, he emptied his executive expense account, packed his bags, and tried to flee to Florida. When I confronted him at his apartment, he screamed at me. He said it was my fault for relying on him when I knew he didn't know how to code. He blamed me, Cole. She looked up at me with desperate, pleading eyes, reaching out her hands as if begging for a lifeline. He never loved me, she wept, her voice full of agonizing realization. He just used me. He used my money, my status, my company. You were the only one who ever truly loved me. You drank until your stomach bled to get me my first investors. You stayed up 3 nights straight to write code so I could pass my first product review. Cole, I was blind. I was so stupid, so arrogant. I let a snake destroy the only man who ever cared about me. She crawled forward on her knees, pressing her forehead against my dress shoes. Please, Cole, come back to me. I'll sign over 50% of Ellison Tech.
To you.
I'll fire everyone who ever disrespected you. I'll give you everything. Just tell Apex to drop the patent lawsuit. Come back home. Let's start over. We can rebuild our marriage. I swear I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to you. I stood there, watching this woman, the CEO who used to look down on me with cold disdain, who used to dismiss my tears and my sacrifices as nothing, begging at my feet like a beggar in the rain. I felt no satisfaction. I felt no joy. I only felt a deep, profound pity for how small she had always been. I bent down slowly, unlocked her grip from my shoes, and stepped back out of her reach. From my inner jacket pocket, I pulled out a fresh, crisp set of documents. The divorce agreement. I slid a pen out of my pocket and laid both the papers and the pen on the small glass table beside her. I had my lawyer prepare these today, I said, my voice steady, quiet, and absolutely final. You sign these right now. You surrender all claims to any intellectual property, assets, or earnings I generate now or in the future. In exchange, I won't press personal criminal fraud charges against you for unauthorized commercial use of my personal patents, though Apex Dynamics will still pursue Ellison Tech for full corporate damages. Carrie stared at the papers, her breath catching in her throat. Cole, please don't do this to us. There is no us, Carrie, I said, looking into her eyes with total indifference. There hasn't been us for a very long time. You just didn't realize it until the lights went out. She looked at my face, searching for a single trace of the man who used to look at her with unconditional love, the man who used to swallow his pride and his pain just to keep her smiling. She found nothing, just an impassable wall of ice. With trembling, shaking hands, she picked up the pen. Tears dripped onto the white paper, smudging the black ink as she signed her name on the line, Carrie Ellison. She dropped the pen, her shoulders slumping as if all the life had been drained out of her body. I picked up the signed documents, inspected the signature, and neatly folded them back into my jacket pocket. Thank you, I said softly. Goodbye, Carrie. I turned toward the glass door to head back into the warmth and music of the ballroom.
Cole.
She called out behind me, her voice small, broken, and desperate in the night air. Did you ever really stop loving me? Or did you just hate me in the end? I paused at the door, my hand on the handle. I didn't turn back around. I don't hate you, Carrie, I said quietly. Hate requires feeling something. You just don't matter to me anymore. I pushed the door open and walked back into the room. Behind me, the glass door slid shut, locking out the wind, the rain, and the sobbing woman on the balcony, leaving her alone in the dark with the wreckage of everything she had chosen over love.